I'd like to welcome anybody who's here who hasn't been to one of our meetings before. If you're brand new and you've never been here before, would you just raise your hand so we can see how many of you are here? We've got a lot to do, so we're going to skip past having anybody introduce themselves tonight, and so I won't put you on the spot.
Say everything wants to buy the opportunity tickets too.
Oh, yes. Yes. Laura, the opportunity tickets are how much? And it's okay. All right, so go buy your opportunity tickets. Okay, for those of you who are new, this is the list of the communities that we service in our club. We have members from beyond that. I think we still have a member who's in Minnesota or somewhere. So we do have people in like one or two in LA County who know about us, and maybe they lived here before. But these are all of the cities that we have the charter to serve from the Democratic Party of Orange County. So would you please stand and join me in the Pledge of Allegiance? Flag is right here. I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
One time when I had a new student teacher in my classroom, she wanted to know why we do the Pledge of Allegiance. I said, because it's the only way to get them all to do one thing. Okay, every meeting I say a little to do about what is important this month, what we are celebrating. And this month, of course, is Gay Pride Month. And we had a big celebration in Mission Viejo. Cindy, thank you for finding the picture. It was a great event. I know I went. How many of you went? Yeah, a bunch of people went. Great. And you can see in the picture, our city council member is there. And also Cynthia and the organizer, Josh, who's a city commissioner. It was a great event. But there were a few people, I heard the rumor that there were a few people in high places in Mission Viejo who weren't thrilled with this event. And then I saw this cartoon and it fit perfectly. Okay, looks like I'm not the only one who throws F-bombs. All right, so what we're gonna do for the first few minutes here, maybe the next 10 minutes or so, is Sarah has brought some cards for us to write. We're in the process of writing these cards. It's a great way to let people know what's going on. And where is Walt? Walt, did you want to say something?
Sure.
Okay. On the table, on every table, there's a piece of paper like this, maybe two. If you want to sign up to do cards, or you want to sign up to help a candidate, fill it out and leave it on the table. And then I will make sure that the right person gets in touch with you. Don't take it with you. That won't work. Okay? Leave it on the table. Okay, well.
Some of you that were here last week, I made a pitch for volunteers to do a very important thing this fall, and that's our drop literature.
Pipe up to your mouth.
Okay, is that better? Okay, thank you. Anyway, I asked Louise last week, and she said as part of the field team, of course, she's the chair of the field team, said it was okay to do that, so I made a pitch. And from you guys that were sitting at the table there, we got all these sheets back. We got a total of 36 volunteers from last time, which was just fantastic. We still need more. And what I'd like to do, any of you, not only last meeting, but have signed up to volunteer to drop literature for the Canyon Dems. Could you stand up? We want to give you a round of applause. So I'm hoping that we can induce a few more of you to sign up tonight. By Tuesday, I had the list. I work in Mission Viejo, but there's a representative in the field team that works in all of these communities that we're talking about. So those people got notified and now are part of our volunteer to drop literature group. That's going to happen sometime the end of the summer into the early fall, obviously before the election. We're working it out the exact time to get that taken care of. But if any of you would consider it at all, please sign up on the sheet that's at the table. Louise put one at the table again. Hopefully we can get another 20 or so volunteers. We're kind of using a rule of thumb for every volunteer we get. We're expecting them to drop around 200 literatures at houses, and we're not knocking on doors. We're just hooking literature on the doors. So it's not a task that you have to worry about that someone's going to be after you. So if you'd be willing to sign up that list, please do that. I'll be around after the meeting. If some of you have doubts about what it might be and need some more information or just have questions about it, please feel free to talk to me. I'm sitting right here, but I'll be around after the meeting. Thanks, Louise.
And if you signed up last time, you don't need to sign up again.
That's right.
Okay? Sarah's gonna tell you about the cards that are on the table.
Most of you have done this before. We're a little short on materials because the people have checked out a lot of materials, but share, just like kindergarten leader cards, share scripts. I also have some kits if you want to check one out, take it home, write more cards. No argument here, so see me after the meeting if you do. I'll be walking around if you have questions.
Okay, so we'll do this for a while so you can chat and meet the people at your table. And get to know each other.
I'm good.
Good evening. How's everyone doing this evening? Getting ready for the election? Yay. Okay, well, we have another candidate this evening that I'd like to introduce to you. And actually, this is for a local election. We love that, right? Yes, all right. And it's for the water board. Whoa, I know. Thank you. Okay, so I'd like to bring up Suzanne Danish. And you'll see her name on our list, and she's going to tell you a little bit about herself, a little bit about her campaign, and she's off and running. She's done all the logistics, which is always kind of a nightmare. So give her a hand here.
Thank you so much. Well, my name
Oh,
is.
we have to hold the mic like this, like parallel to the. Right up here,
Sing it out. Right up
Sing it out. Did I get it?
there.
Okay. I'm Suzanne Danis. That's Danish without the H. And I'm a Kenyan Democrat from Coto de Caza. I am a native Californian, and I've lived in Laguna Niguel, Corona del Mar, San Gabriel, and Carmel. I love California, and I care about California. I am running for the Santa Margarita Water District Board, Division 3, and I'm asking for your vote November 5. Division 3 is the area that is Rancho Santa Margarita, east of Banderas, and the communities that include Tijeras Creek, Stone Cliff, Wagon Wheel, and Coto de Caza. please vote for me way down ballot. Keep going, keep going, keep going. You'll find me probably the last one. So I'm running for this office because I care about our community, our economy, our environment, and our safety. My family's background is of service. Most recently, 3 generations of Navy men and women going back to 1922. And apparently, I am the black sheep. I pursued an MBA from USC and became a management consultant to businesses. Then I earned a Ph.D. in political science and went into public service for the federal government in Washington, D.C. in the areas of national security and counterterrorism. I'm running for office because our community needs an experienced leader on the Santa Margarita Water District Board. We need an experienced leader who can ensure water rates remain fair as the state grapples with big changes in areas that include water supply, changes in consumer usages, increased costs of bringing the water into our district, increased threats from natural and man-made emergencies, and the continuing need to invest in infrastructure to meet the changing water demand and the consequences of the water shortages that we have. So these changes require solutions that include capturing and storing local water supplies, water reclamation from wastewater, desalination facilities, and effective utilization of watersheds and aquifers. So this balance between residential water rates and facilities development matter because the wholesaler that we purchase our water, all our water is bought it from the Metropolitan Water District. Just announced in April of this year that they will increase water rates 8.5% through the region in both 2025 and 2026 to help pay for these infrastructure needs. These costs will be passed on to Santa Margarita Water District customers. Our water bills are likely to increase at least 17% within the next couple of years. We also need a leader who can ensure strong oversight and effective governance of water management decisions. What is governance? Governance, it's the process and systems of making good decisions where you have controls in place and have good processes in place to make those decisions. We need to ensure that local water supply continues, even as climate changes challenges our water supplies. We're bringing water in from the Colorado River 200 miles away, and from Northern California, 400 miles away. So the back stuff matters. The people that you have on the board who help make decisions to ensure that we've got that water matters. And finally, we need a leader to protect the safety and security of our critically important local water supplies from natural disasters, and even more compellingly, from foreign agents, oh yes, domestic terrorists, activists, and criminal who mean us harm. I'll get to that in a minute. Hang on to that thought. So for the last 30 years, I've been solving business issues such as these, and we'll bring these skills to our water board. So I work for national and multinational corporations in strategy, policy, management, and change management, in banking, technology, aerospace, and medical industries. I can bring best practices from these multiple industries to our local water board. And I work for intergovernmental organizations such as the World Bank's global environmental facilities to control fund management and expenditures. I have developed effective oversight and good governance for billion-dollar infrastructure investments. And finally, I worked for the federal government. I had a top secret clearance in oversight and good governance, infrastructure protection, and threat mitigation and counterterrorism. I have developed planning to prevent international adversaries from harming assets, including critical infrastructure. Our water facilities are critical infrastructure. So you might say, well, Suzanne, why should I vote for you? There's an incumbent. She seems like she's been pretty good. Why should I vote for you? And I'd like to answer that question. What are my differentiators? First of all, the incumbent, she's a trained water scientist. She was a professor of civil and environmental engineering at UCI, and she founded Urban Water Research. Terrific, right? But Santa Margarita Water District has scientists and water experts. They are loaded with those folks on staff. What the board needs are seasoned business oversight experts with a multidisciplinary background, including with the federal government, who can bring deep knowledge and best practices to our current business, climate, and threat environments. I have that experience. She does not. She was appointed to the board in 1994. That was 30 years ago. I think Nelson Mandela ran for president in South Africa and ended apartheid. We lost Kurt Cobain that year. 30 years was a long, long time ago. She's been on the board for 30 years. It is time for a change. With 30 years of siloed water experience, she has contributed to the board growing entrenched in the policies as usual and has not addressed the significant changes in the business environment surrounding the management of our water supplies. So the board needs fresh eyes. I am those fresh eyes. And she has no experience in or has not had the board manage external risks to our water safety and security. Remember I talked about terrorism? I'm going to come back to it right now. In last month's board meeting, the general manager casually reported that 6 men broke into a water facility's location. Couldn't hear the words really clearly. I think it was the Chiquita Reservoir or the water reclamation plant. The keys were left in the fleet cars. They got in the cars, went joyriding, totaled one of the cars, and then they walked into the facilities and they damaged it, spraying the fire extinguishers everywhere. So there appears to be minimal physical security controls. And if there is, employees are disregarding and there's no oversight accountability by management. Who is watching the watchers? Dr. Seuss wrote that there. So the general manager said, oh yeah, we're working on updating our 10-year plan. Folks, this is not okay. The board in Santa Margarita Water District were asleep at the wheel. Our water supply is a critical infrastructure, a massive local investment that our community depends on. Harm from joyriders, vandals, anti-government folks, and even foreign governments and terrorists cannot and should not be possible. In fact, in March of this year, Jake Sullivan is our national security advisor to the White House. He issued a major threat warning to all the local water municipalities, every single one of the local small water municipalities, just like ours, that Russian, Chinese, and Iranian agents have been conducting disabling cyber attacks that strike water and wastewater systems throughout the United States. The ones that we know of are in California, Texas, and Pennsylvania, but there probably are many more, and they're not reported. Yet vandals just walked into our Chiquita facility, and it was that easy. This time we were lucky. The vandals weren't a serious risk, but we may not be so lucky next time. This is why the board needs a seasoned expert in business oversight and in understanding and preventing domestic and international threats. On my watch, we will not have 6 guys walking into our facilities and causing harm. It will not happen. So that is my message to you all. I'm here. I would like to ask for your vote on November 5. If you give me your vote and I'm on the water board, I will be there to protect it, to help balance the water rates while giving us the critical infrastructure that we need. Thank you so much.
Celeste in the house? Celeste.
We tried, yeah, well, they asked for time, so we set it aside. Okay. Okay, so now we have some business to do. For those of you who are new, we have an unusual way of doing this. We bundle all of the business in one vote. Okay, so if you look at your agenda and you see the boxes with the check marks, all of those things will be voted on at one time, assuming there are no objections from all of you. So let me run through what we are putting on our consent items. The agenda, the statement that there's a quorum. There are a number of recommendations for expenditures from the board, the general meeting minutes of the last meeting, and the motion to adjourn, and the treasurer's report. We're going to do it all at one time. So let me quickly show you the treasurer's report. Ken, raise your hand. Ken is our treasurer supreme and takes care of doing, multiple reports for the state and the federal government because we're a federal PAC and a state PAC. And you can see our balance is over $45,000, which is, thank you to the fundraising team. And of course, all the people who are, sustaining donors. So, if there are any questions about the treasurer's report? Okay, good. Okay, these are the recommendations from the board. So the board spends a lot of time talking about what we should ask the members to support. Any expenditure over $1,000 requires the vote of the membership. So we have a number of these listed here. In prior months, we gave each of the congressional candidates, Joe Kerr, Mike Levin, and Dave Min, $900 under the $1,000 limit. And now we're proposing to top them off. The maximum we can give each of them is $3,300. So we'd be sending each of them an additional $2,400. We'd like to send them 1,000. Can't do that. We are limited, just like individuals are limited in how much we can contribute. And then supporting water board candidates, we propose to spend up to $1,000 in either in-kind donations or cash for Suzanne and for Bob Simon. And then for the Saddleback Valley School District Board, Susie Schwartz has already announced. And we propose to spend $2,000 either in kind or cash contributions. And then to donate $2,000 cash to Ryan Dack, who's running for the South Orange County Community College District. He's been here before, a real tall, good-looking kid, you know. Well, he's a kid to me, because like I'm old enough to be his grandmother, you know.
You need to add the voice of OC on there.
And yes, I didn't put it on. It's there. Oh, I'm sorry.
It's on our agenda.
Oh, it's on the agenda, yes, okay, and that's my fault because we changed the agenda and I didn't change this. So the, whose glasses are these? Somebody's glasses are here. Janet, are these your glasses? Or Suzanne? Yes. I'll get them to you in just a minute. Okay. As you know, we have community coordinators in each of the cities. And they're a really going group. They're very active. Andy's here. Raise your hand, Andy. Yeah, good. Okay, who else? Cindy. Yeah. And they were on a conference call or a meeting with each other and decided to propose that we give the Voice of OC $1,500 to celebrate their 15th year of publication. I strongly supported that suggestion because I remember when we couldn't get anybody to listen to us about what was going on in Mission Viejo, the Voice of OC started writing articles, and that really helped us, okay? They are the only local news outlet that we have, and we need to keep them going. So, okay, so what I would like now is to ask, is there anybody in the audience who would like to take one of these things off of the consent list so we can have a further debate and discussion on it? Speak up. Thank you very much. Okay, I will now entertain a motion to adopt the consent items. Somebody, Gary moved and Ted Pearl seconded. Okay, good. Now, if you vote on the honor roll here, you are on your honor. You're supposed to be a Democrat, and we do have even a few Republican members, but you can't vote. And you're supposed to have dues paid up. Okay, which I think 99% of you do. So you get to vote if you're in that category. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Done. We did it. All right. That's done. Okay, committee reports. Anne is Our committee chair for membership is in Switzerland. Having, yeah, we actually let committee members go on trips. Get to leave the country. Sometimes we feel we're chained to this, you know, so we are up to 426 members. Yeah. And growing, because I'm sure some of our guests tonight are joining. If they, I know at least one. Yeah, I know the ladies don't let you through the door without getting a speech about it. Good for you, ladies. Okay, well, you know, memberships make up a substantial piece of our income, a big substantial part of it. So it's really good that you keep paying your dues. Okay, we also, next month, will be doing collections. I know the collections started a little shaky out there tonight. Did somebody come and get all that stuff? Yeah, thank God. Okay, all right. So next month, we are collecting for, Families Forward for their, kids, backpacks that they put together for kids who need help going back to school. So new backpacks, colored pencils, not the ones on the table. College rule paper, colored markers, pens, pencils, scientific calculators, those are.
Please,
Yeah,
I talked to them and they no longer need backpacks. They have a donor.
yeah,
donor-
okay, no backpacks. All right, thank you for telling me. Okay, and notebooks, okay? You know, I bet you, if you look in the closets at home and the desk drawers, there's a lot of this stuff's been collected. So go shopping in your own house first, okay? All right, and so we'll collect them next month. Okay. The community focus groups, which I already introduced, are you guys doing presentations tonight? Andy?
Kathy wanted to talk about Mission Viejo.
Go, Kathy.
Okay, hi. I am Kathy Palmer, the Mission Viejo Focus Group convener, leader, reporter, follow-upper. Anyway, if you're on my email list, you've probably gotten some newsletters from me. And I am here to celebrate a victory that was a long time in coming. On their June 11th meeting, the Mission Viejo City Council finally passed an inclusionary housing ordinance. We have worked on this for 3 years, and it was a rocky start, believe me. But because due to a lot of people, I'm going to thank some of them by name. Ann Owens, who really got us started. Affordable housing is her passion. Eileen Geiger over here. Raise your hand, Eileen. She is an affordable housing expert. We have Rona Henry from Laguna Hills Family Forward, who has written in support of affordable housing. We've had outside consultants who've helped us craft the message and hold the Mission Viejo city government, city attorney, city planning commission, and city council to hold their feet to the fire. But the people that I want to thank the most are those of you who responded to asks for support, wrote letters, who showed up at city council meetings, who showed up at planning and transportation commission meetings, and spoke up for affordable housing, spoke out against the haters. Affordable housing brings crime. Affordable housing brings people we don't want in our community. Affordable housing allows the nurses, the teachers, the retail workers who make your life work every single day. That's who it provides housing for. So thank you, Canyon Dems, for supporting our effort. We are not out of the woods yet, but this is a first step and a tool in the right direction. So thank you.
So we love our local focus groups, and I see the emails that they send out, and it's amazing how you keep track of everything that's going on in these cities and the county. Okay, so, with regard to field team, which is to reach out to voters, we have also decided to follow the same pattern that the community focus groups have and have one person in charge in each of our communities. So you can see Rancho Santa Margarita's Mike Ebel, raise your hand, Mike. Mission Viejo, you met Walt, everybody knows Walt. Holly Magana, am I saying that right, Holly?
Yes.
Magana, thank you. Laguna Hills, we have an intern, and I'm not sure he's really showing up very much, but he's trying. And then Jim and Janice Vance out in the canyon. So if you have questions about how to help pass out stuff to people in your community, how to influence what's going on in your community with the election coming up, these are the folks you want to get a hold of, okay? And last meeting, we had a great speaker, Dr. Gould. Gould, is that right? Yeah. And how many of you heard him? Wasn't he super?
Yeah.
Okay. And one of the things he talked about was this idea that this is going to be a turnout election, not a persuasion election. There are more than enough Democrats and no party preference voters who vote Democratic 99% of the time for us to win the election. We do not have to convince the Trumpers like Walt Sissy. Where's Walt? Walt called me up and he goes, "Oh, she would," you know, and I'm like, "Well, it doesn't matter. She can vote for Trump and we can still win. You know, it's okay." All right. So keep that in mind. Okay, when you see these arguments on the news and in the newspaper, and you're like, "Oh my God, we've got to make a better, got to do this, we've got to do that." The only thing we have to do is turn Democrats out to vote.
Amen.
That's what we have to do. And today in the paper, there was a poll from UC Berkeley, and I tuned in on one small part of it. It said voters under 30 are more likely to vote than those who are over 65. And they say getting more information about how and when to vote could improve their chances of participation. Well, folks, guess what? We can give them that information. We have it. We can tell people how to vote. In fact, there's a little subgroup that I hope is kicking off that's going to be doing some texting to young voters about turning out, how to register to vote, and how to vote. You know, I saw somebody's voter registration recently, and they had voted at the polls in every single election, and I thought, oh my God, they gotta be the last person alive who goes to the polls every time, okay? So we have to convince these young people they don't have to do that. They can vote by mail. It'll be really easier. And younger people, younger voters say that they're more likely to vote if voting is more convenient, like getting your vote by mail and dropping it in the drop box for the registrar of voters couldn't be easier, okay? If they have assistance from a group that they trust to help me, I'm better understand the issues and the candidates, then I'm more likely to vote if I'm a young voter. And those are things that are easy for us to do, okay? So that's what the field team's gonna be focusing on. It came out of today's newspaper. And Cindy, I'll send you it. I started taking pictures. Okay, so the good news is this is all doable. And then guess what? The latest news is that Biden's numbers are up. So, yay. Okay, so, Barbara, where are you? The Energizer Bunny of the club. Barbara is organizing our booth at the Mission Viejo Street Fair for 4th of July.
And I just want to thank everybody that signed up. We don't have any open slots, but if you go to the fair, please stop by. for those of you that have signed up, I'm waiting to get the announcement from the city to send out the email, so it's coming. So, hope to see you there. Last year, we had really good response from people. So being an election year, I'm hoping to see the same. I will report back next month.
Thank you. You know, our project was really easy. I helped with it once. Oh my God, it's a lot of work. So thank you, Barbara. Okay, Marty. Marty, and I'm super appreciative of fundraising committee.
Thank you. Low Canyon Dems. How you doing? It's been lovely. Thank you so much for all of our guests and our new members. We're so glad you're here. And happy Pride Month. I get a new chance to wear my official Target Pride dress. I get to wear it 1 month every year. I want to thank everybody who came to our ice cream social. It was a great success. We made a lot of money and made a lot of friends and had a lot of good fun. It was our, yeah, the weather was perfect. Yeah, the ice cream, I couldn't even know. Let's see, our sustaining donors, let me see where we are. We're not there yet. Okay, I'll follow the script. We had our change for change tonight. Thank you to everybody who was able to empty their pockets, and the first 15 people got the cute, can you hold them up? The cute little containers that you get to collect your change. Official Canyon Dems change for change containers. Thank you very much. There's still 2 left, so if you have change, even if you just pull the change out of your wallet, bring it by, you get a little
There you
jar.
go. We have 2 more jars to give away. We have new merchandise. Our guru, Patty, has been very busy. She's actually designed some of the stuff, so I think we need to. Everything that she's got new t-shirts and I'm a merchandise made. I'm a merchandise made, and there they are. We've got signs, we've got t-shirts, we've got magnets. She's amazing. So stop by on your way out and spend a little bit of money there. That also helps our club and helps us to give money to candidates, which is what we're here to do. Then our opportunity drawing, we'll do that in a second. Right now, we're looking at having a picnic in the park. We're going to meet with the Central Orange County Democratic Club,
Formerly Santa Ana and Testa, and they
Right.
combined.
They combine. So anyway, we're gonna have a picnic with them. Our little team here is gonna provide the sandwiches. And we're asking our members and guests to bring just some, side dish, a dessert or a salad or a, I don't know, something,
Appetizer,
some kind of something. And it's no charge, it's all free, just bring them something to eat.
But they have to sign up
You
online.
have to sign up online, right?
To
And
get the
then when you
location.
sign up, then you'll find out where it's gonna be held. They're not gonna tell you until you sign up.
But it's in Lake, but it's in Lake
It's
Forest.
Lake Forest,
It's
it's
Lake
free Lake Forest, no worries. Okay, how do I push the thing? Signing up online, you do on the website, and on the website, there's the thing we call a scroll, things fly across. And one of the things that flies across looks like this, you click on it, and then you can sign up, okay? Yes.
Why push to make the slide go, Louise? Oh, I'll do it. Oh.
Okay, she's gonna do it, I'm not touch anything. There we go. Okay, our sustaining donors, raise your hand if you're a sustaining donor. Look at We have 75 people who have decided that they can give a little bit more than their cost of their dues, and so they give a couple of dollars every month, or they write us one check. We invite you to join them. If you're already a sustainer, add a buck, that helps. So 75 donors have given already this year $8,448. That really, all that money goes to helping our candidates. Yes, we've had, thank you parties for our sustaining donors. Last month, we got
last month. Last year, we got to play with a real donkey. It was really fun. I'm not gonna do that this year, but we will have a thank you, but we're waiting until after the election because that's really our.
I do have a cow you guys would really like though.
She's gonna have to have a baby and that's okay, I'm not sure she is. Okay, September 6th, we're gonna have, come and meet our blue team, tacos and talk. And it's gonna be an event that we're gonna hold, right here at the center. And we're gonna have a taco truck and we've invited all the local candidates. And we've already got some of them who've said they're coming. Suzanne is coming, Susie is coming, Dave Min is coming, Joe, Dom Jones is coming, Joe Kerr is coming. So I'm forgetting somebody, but anyway, they're all coming, so you'll be able to get up close and personal and actually tell them when they get into their new office, because we're gonna get them all elected, right? So you can tell them, these are the things that are important to me, this is the stuff that I want you to work on. And find out where they stand on the issues that are important to you, so please come to that. I'm not sure. Where's Cindy?
Not yet.
Not yet, it's too soon, too soon.
Yeah,
We're way-
I haven't sent her all the
we're way
information
out.
on this. I
Okay.
should know the answer to that.
Opportunity drawing,
Okay, I have to get the appropriate tire on this.
there you go.
Okay, so we're celebrating 4th of July early, okay, so we're gonna, today's opportunity drawing is a really cool, fun, it's the Whirly Gig Reads for the 4th of July, and you also get a bottle of wine. We'll have two winners, so here we go. I've been mixing these up just so they don't get stuck together. Try again. Can you see it?
Yeah, I had.
I have it too. Still not sure.
948520. 948520.
That's a 0. 520. Anybody?
Or 520.
We had a couple of these that we threw in. We weren't sure. Oh, okay, good. Well, there you go.
Can't you tell?
The king of dance.
Oh, it's getting done. We're good.
Thank you.
She said she's coming more often. Okay, our second winner is 250892. 250892.
My neighbors.
Thank you all.
We got
all your
bookending,
financial
we got
support.
bookending, Democrats in my neighborhood right here.
Thank you.
You gotta work on that guy in the cul-de-sac, Laura. He was nice to me when I walked in the neighborhood.
In the cul-de-sac?
Yeah, up towards, yeah, that's the one where I thought we might be nice here. You know what? Herb sent me the information about our speaker in July. We may have to get a bigger room. It's the State of Abortion Rights and Emily Escobar, who is the Public Affairs Advocacy Manager for Planned Parenthood for Orange County and San Bernardino counties, will be here to speak to us, and I know she'll be great. And Herb, come on up and you can introduce our speaker.
Before I introduce the speaker, I'd like to also make mention that in August, we're gonna do something out of the ordinary. It may be a big bust, it may be a whole lot of fun, we'll see. We're gonna be at the Democratic National Convention. When I say we, one of the founding members, Deborah Skurnick, is a representative. She will be on the floor of the convention via Zoom. She will broadcast to this meeting on the 20th of August. Who knows? Maybe the governor will participate, maybe the vice president will participate, maybe some other famous people, but maybe we'll just have a blackout. No idea, but come by, stay tuned and participate. Okay? as of tonight. Our honored guest is Professor Nadine Steinberg, who's emeritus at Cal State University, Los Angeles, an eminent political scientist who has been at that university for over 30 years. Her forte is American politics. Her teaching interests include the areas of campaigns and elections and public media, political behavior, and public opinion, kind of things where we're all quite interested in. She currently is active in OLLI, which is part of the UCI adult education program. So please welcome.
Well, hello, and thank you so much for inviting me here tonight. I want to thank Herb Cohen for extending the personal invitation for me to come here and present tonight. Can you all hear me in the back? No. No? Is the volume up? Yeah, you have to hold it this way. Okay, better?
Yes, but.
Okay, great. Before I begin, I have to tell you how impressed I am with this turnout tonight. I live in San Clemente. I've lived there 26 years. Some of you are giving me like looks of sympathy. But I have to say, the number of people here tonight is greater, I think, than the number of Democrats in the entire city. Has a population of 60,000 people. So it's great to be amongst all Democrats. So tonight I'm going to talk about the national popular vote movement. And before I begin, I want to ask, have any of you heard of this movement?
Yes.
Oh my gosh, I'm very impressed. I'm a political scientist, as you know. I'm teaching American politics over 30 years. And I just kind of stumbled across this about, a year or so ago, Herb, that we started talking about it. And I've never heard anyone report on it in the media. I'm pretty much a news junkie, but I'm kind of not on, you've heard some reports?
Oh, yeah, what happens is when Republicans win an election, they shouldn't do because they're way behind in the popular vote. We should do something about it. But that never happens.
Yes, and they talked specifically about the National Popular Vote Initiative. Yeah, so yes, you're absolutely correct. For years, we've been saying, I think since 2000 at least, when Gore lost the election, but won the popular vote, that this doesn't seem right in democracy. And most other democracies have a direct national vote, popular vote for the presidency. So I'm gonna spend some time tonight explaining the national popular vote movement. I'm also going to talk about our current electoral college and the problems we have with it, and how the national popular vote initiative will address those problems. So as I just mentioned, after the 2000 election, where Gore won the popular vote, but lost the electoral college on the basis of 567 votes in Florida. And I was thinking about that this morning because I was glued to my TV set watching them count the ballots. Remember those hanging chads? Yeah. And then I thought, wow, that was the year 2000 and we're in 2024. And to me, it seems like not that long ago that all this happened. And then they didn't announce who won the presidency until I think it was December. So talk about sitting on the edge of your seat for a couple of months. So the main goal of the national popular vote movement is to ensure that the candidate who wins the nationwide popular vote wins the presidency. As I said, like all other democracies, the way they operate.
The movement is an attempt to bypass the way our electoral college currently operates. And, you know, many people ask, why don't we just abolish the electoral college? Well, it's been tried over 700 times. It's really hard to pass a constitutional amendment. And so it would have to be a constitutional amendment to abolish the electoral college the way it currently operates. And a constitutional amendment has to be passed by 2/3 of both chambers of Congress, and then 3/4 of the state legislatures have to also affirm that change to the Constitution. Now, just a refresher, how does the Electoral College operate? Well, you know, there's a total of 538 Electoral College votes nationwide. And you need 270 half of those to win the presidency. And each state receives at least 3 Electoral College votes. And the way the Electoral College votes are allocated is it's equal to a state's number of House members plus the 2 senators. So in California, we have 54 electoral college votes because we have, 52 House members and 2 senators. And then if you look at Wyoming, they have 3 electoral college votes total. And that is because they have only 1 House member and the 2 senators. Now, when each state sends its electors to vote in the Electoral College in December of the election year, there is a slate of electors. Now, California will have 54 electors voting in December of 2024, and it's the political parties who select their respective slates of electors. And have any of you ever been selected to be a Democratic elector or know someone who's been a Democratic elector? Okay. It's pretty tough to get that job. And electors from the winning candidate's party will go and cast their votes in December of 2024 for the candidate who won the popular vote in their state. So in California, hypothetically speaking, Biden's going to win the popular vote. So all 54 electoral college votes will be cast for Biden. And they will be cast by members of the Democratic Party because it's the Democratic electors who are going to vote in December. It is a winner-take-all system. There are 2 exceptions, and the exceptions are 2 of us, 2 rather small, kind of non-battleground states, Maine and Nebraska. And they apportion their electors by congressional district instead of the entire state. And then Maine also allocates an electoral college vote to the candidate who won the state overall. Now, usually we don't pay too much attention to Maine and Nebraska and their electoral college votes. But if it's a close election this year and every electoral vote counts, you better believe we're going to be looking at Maine and Nebraska. Because they're not all Republican or Democratic in those states. They have a history of having a few Republican electors and 1 Democratic elector, depending on how the congressional districts can go. And then in Maine, whoever gets a popular vote overall is also important. In the event that no candidate reached 270 electoral college votes, I don't know if you remember this from your American government class, but now the election is thrown to the House of Representatives. Yeah. Yes, the Democratic group is going to moan about that. Yeah. And each state delegation in the House of Representatives gets 1 vote. It's not what the majority in that state wants or believes. It's 1 I take that back, it is what the majority of the, House members from that state. So it's one vote per state, so whoever the majority is, in terms of being Democratic House members or Republican House members, that's gonna determine the one vote that will be cast from that state. And there are more Republican states than there are Democratic states. So there's a built-in bias there. If it's thrown to the House, the Republican candidate will win.
This year,
Pardon?
next year.
This year.
It's gonna be, this year's House. This year's House.
No, that's not right. It'll be next week.
Will it be next year's House?
Yeah.
Is it in January, before it's certified on January sixth? I mean, January 20th. Okay, thank you.
Okay, so can we repeat what the final decision?
According to that gentleman, I think he is correct. It will be after the new house is sworn in.
No.
Okay, is someone good?
January first, when they get sworn in, of course, January second.
January 6th happened because the Republicans wanted to stop that year's House from certifying the election. So it'd be like, that similar, it'd be in January, right before the election, they'd have that vote. So it'd be this year's House.
And considering that most representatives itself during that, and has yet to, and that is yet to change. We all hope for a big switch in the House of Representatives, but we should prepare for what if it doesn't. Exactly.
So it doesn't. Let me, so what happened for the last comment, and think this through with me and help me make sure I'm on the right track here, but it doesn't matter if the Democrats control
Right.
the House.
Yep.
Because each state gets one vote. And there are more Republican states than there are Democratic states.
Correct.
So it doesn't matter if Democrats control the House.
For example, just yesterday, 24 state attorneys general all filed an amicus brief in support of Trump being let loose of his charges. Okay, that's 24 states that are controlled by Republican attorney generals.
Yeah.
So California has all these electoral votes, but we also have a lot of representatives. There are states that have fewer representatives. If it goes to the House for a vote, California's vote counts the same as South Dakota's.
That's right.
According to this article, it says it is the members of Congress elected in November 2024 and seated in January that determine the president. It's the new house.
It's the new House.
Yeah.
Someone
They'll
vote.
vote on
Thank
January
you.
6th.
Thank you.
Good job, Jim.
Thank you.
It's the new house.
It's the new House.
It wouldn't matter.
It's the
It
new
would just
House, but
make
it's
it more
probably not
disappointing.
going to change. It's the new House, but it's probably not gonna change the end result. Here's the new electoral college map based on the census that was recently conducted. California laws, House seat. You can see the southern states, the Sun Belt states are gaining. And many of the states of the Northeast. California, we had a decline in population. That's why we lost the seat.
Based on the census.
It's based on the census.
Which was questionable.
Yeah.
Yeah, so the census is always, I shouldn't say always, but recently controversial. They believe they undercount homeless, minorities, displaced persons, etc.
And the majority of people that died were probably people that didn't get the vaccine and probably didn't.
Most of them Republican.
Okay, let's try. Informal group, but I think we've stepped close to the line, but they're not affecting our speaker. So let's hold down the comments, okay? So we already know the problems with the electoral college. We're not electing a president based on the popular vote necessarily. And the electoral college really overrepresents the small states and underrepresents the large states. I'm getting back to the California, Wyoming example again. And California has about 39 million people and 54 electoral college votes. And if you do your math, it's one elector per 722,000 people. And Wyoming has a population of just over 500,000, 586,000, with 3 electoral college votes. That's one elector per 195,000 people. So which state in terms of representation would you rather live in? Yeah, Wyoming, you're gonna get 4 times more representation there as compared to in California. And this is gonna become more and more of a problem. This is a problem with, with the US Senate also. And because, we're gonna have, projections of where, population centers are gonna grow, it's typically in urban areas. So, it's gonna be more of a problem in the future. And it brings up the question, one person, one vote, doesn't seem quite to fit here. With the current electoral college winner take all system, those voting for the minority candidate in their state basically have their votes canceled out at the state level because the electoral college is a winner take all system. It's not proportional in any way. So if you have hypothetically, candidate A gets 50.1% of the vote and candidate B gets 49.9% of the vote, all the votes go for candidate A. And 49.9% of the voters basically don't have a voice in that state. And another issue with the electoral college is a small number of votes and a handful of states decide the presidency. And if you look at the last, in 2020, the last election, if just over, 21,461 voters in 3 states, Arizona, Georgia, and Wisconsin had voted differently, Biden would not be president. And left behind. So it's the swing states that dominate the campaigns, dominate the election. And in 2024, if you look at those kind of yellow beige colored states, there are only about 6 of them. These are the swing states in 2024. And in 2016, researchers do some analysis of where the candidates are campaigning, where they're spending their campaign funds. And in 2016, nearly 2/3 of the general election campaign events took place in just 6 states, those battleground states in 2016. In 2020, it followed a similar pattern, even though, we were in the throes of COVID, candidates were still campaigning. But again, they focused on the battleground states. And what about the other 80% of the population who don't live in those battleground states? And I'm a person who has studied and taught politics in the media and campaigns and elections. So I love seeing campaign ads and, trying to figure out what the strategy of the candidates are vis-a-vis their campaign ads. And I'm sometimes jealous of people who live in battleground states because they're getting bombarded with these ads. But I want to know what those ads are. So I had to go searching online to see what types of ads are being broadcast in the battleground states, because we don't really see much of it here in California. And by the way, just to make you feel better, I picked one of the websites that had probably the rosiest prediction as of now on the outcome of the electoral college vote as it now stands. And this was as of a few days ago, I think June 13th, from this website. There are various websites that I probably look at too often to see where things are standing vis-a-vis the electoral college vote. Because I'll just suggest, don't get too wedded to the national public opinion polls where, oh, I saw the same polls, you know, I got excited, Biden and Trump are, you know, in a tie, or Biden's ahead by 2 points. Those are interesting, but if you really want to know what's going to happen in November, you have to look at the state polls. You have to look at what's happening state by state and looking at those battleground states to see which candidates up, which candidates down, how does it look? And there are a couple of websites. The one I have a lot of confidence in is called Race to the White House. And I go to that website and they do predictions on the Senate races, the House races, and the presidential race. And what they do is they take a very wide assortment of polling that's done by pretty reputable pollsters, and they actually evaluate the polls and they kind of grade them so you know which are the better polls, and they do polling averages. And then they figure out who's ahead and who's behind in the various states, and they come up with their as of today electoral college prediction. And when I would teach classes in public opinion, this is kind of the cardinal rule of public opinion. When you see a poll and the results, it's a snapshot in time. It's only for this very moment. It's for the week the poll was conducted. And that's it. It could change overnight. We know how current events have an impact on people's perceptions and opinions. And so, again, polls are interesting to look at. They give you some sense, but they're not the holy grail. Don't get, you know, too wedded to them. Public opinion on the Electoral College. 2/3 of the American public, sorry, that's not showing up great, but the top faded line is about 65% in the most recent poll that's indicated here, which was in July of 2023. So about 2/3 of the American public want to switch to a popular direct election for the presidency. Now, are there partisan differences? No. There are some interesting age differences. You know, the older you are, you're still majorities of all age groups want to get rid of the Electoral College and have a popular vote. But, 65 and older are a little less in favor than the 18 to 29-year-olds. But generally, all in favor of ditching the Electoral College. Now, in the Republican camp, 52% of Republicans want to keep the Electoral College and 47% want to get rid of it. But look at the difference between self-identified conservative Republicans and self-identified moderate or liberal Republicans. They're exact opposites of each other in terms of wanting direct vote or Electoral College. And conservative Republicans, by a very wide margin, want to keep the Electoral College because they know it favors them. And Democrats want a direct vote. So what is the National Popular Vote Interstate Compact? That's the official name. And the name's important because I'm going to come back to that towards the end. One of the arguments against this initiative. Under the National Popular Vote, at the state level, every voter's vote will be added to the national tally for the candidate chosen. So they'll just take the vote totals from each state, California, 60% voted for Biden, 40% voted for Trump. It's just added to the national tally. And in the end, we'll find out who has the most votes, and they will be president. The candidate who receives the most popular votes nationwide will be awarded all of the electoral college votes from that state. And this is where it gets very interesting. So let's say the state of California, and let's look to the future. But let's say it's 2028 election, and we're doing it by the national popular vote. And California, we're a Democratic state, we're a deep blue state, and the Democratic candidate wins. But nationwide, the Republican candidate wins. All of California's electoral college votes under the national popular vote interstate compact, all of California's votes would have to go to the Republican candidate, even though the Democratic candidate won in California, because that's what the agreement is. If you join this compact, you have to agree, whoever wins nationwide the popular vote, even if it's not the candidate who won the popular vote in your state, you still must award all of your electoral college votes to the winner of the national vote.
Yeah, they're included in that total, right? So
Pardon?
they're included in that total, so it should be counted anyway.
I'm sorry. couldn't hear.
They're included in the total, right?
Yeah, they're included in the total, correct. And when will the national popular vote go into effect? It'll go into effect when there are enough states who have passed this compact, this agreement, that total 270 electoral college votes. And that makes sense because if you have enough states who are sitting there with 270 electoral college votes at their disposal,
You won.
they get to decide who wins.
Yeah.
Because that's all you need to win the presidency in the electoral college. Yes.
Maybe I missed a connection there. I thought this movement wants to abandon the electoral college.
It's to kind of bypass some of the rules of it.
To make it irrelevant.
Yeah.
To make it irrelevant.
We
Well,
still be
it's
there,
not
but it
irrelevant.
wouldn't matter.
If California has to go along, you just said, California wins popular vote. But if nationally a Republican wins, you're still dealing with an electoral college.
No. Well, it's still a system of, you need 270 electoral college votes to win.
Why not?
Because we can't,
Can't do it.
we can't get a constitutional amendment and it's not gonna pass. So this is an end run around the whole messiness of getting a constitutional amendment passed, which has been tried and to no avail. So people are sitting there and they're thinking, okay, we have the electoral college. It's really difficult to abolish it because we need a constitutional amendment. How can we kind of play with the system, finagle a bit, and figure out a way to get the end result we want? Yeah, I'm gonna go, yeah. Yeah,
I have a question. When
Yeah.
you're looking at the state's representative who've already signed on for it, overwhelmingly Democrat. Now, all of us recognize that the electoral college has managed to put Republicans in the presidency without winning the popular vote, except for in most of our voting lifetimes. But how is this not any, to play devil's advocate, how is this not just cheating our way? The problem is the electoral college was set up originally to get the southern states to get on board
right.
with being American. And they've used it ever since to bypass the popular consensus of the vote. The idea that the Democrats have now figured out a way to cheat better It does, you know, it may get us what we want, but I don't believe it's the moral fiber.
It's the only.
Okay, yeah, if you, people have described this, but they've used different adjectives to describe, you know, this plan. The end result is something that I would argue over 2/3 of the American public wants, and that is a direct election of our president. So they're not, it's not doing anything, I would argue it's not doing anything devious in a way, because every vote counts. And with the electoral college as it now stands, not every vote counts because it's a winner take all kind of system. And this is saying the national popular vote argument is every vote will count. Every vote is going to count. We're going to look at in the end, the national tally. It would be as if we're doing a direct popular vote. And then you look at the end result and how do we, what's the mechanism to get there with the tools, well, not the tools, with what we're stuck with, the electoral college, because we can't pass a constitutional amendment. Can I just get on and then I'll answer some questions? So where are we now? So far, 17 states and DC have passed and are now a part of the National Popular Vote Interstate Compact. And so what happens is it goes to the state legislatures. And you know, if you're a bicameral legislature like we are in California and most states are, both the what would be equivalent to our state senate and state assembly, both chambers would have to pass it. And so believe it or not, 17 states have already passed it. And there are 5 small states, 9 medium states, and 3 very large states. The bill has passed 1 legislative chamber in 7 additional states. Now, the states where this has passed, it totals 209 electoral college votes. Remember, 270 is the magic number. And the states where it's passed 1 chamber, but not the other chamber, but it might pass the other chamber eventually, that would total 74 more electoral college votes and put them over the magic number of 270. Now, do you notice any pattern with the states that have passed that? Yeah. Very democratic states. Just a bit of trivia. John Koza was the creator and chair of the National Popular Vote nonprofit. He started all this. He's a computer scientist. He's known for his work in genetics, but my favorite part of this is a scratch-off lottery ticket. He co-invented that. All right, the arguments pro and con. The arguments for the national popular vote. We've already said you're going to elect the president by the popular vote. All votes are counted equally. Remember the discrepancy between California and Wyoming. It's a belief that the candidates will campaign throughout the country and not just in those battleground states. And all votes count. The arguments against. It will lead to more third-party candidates and could result in electing a president with far less than 50% of the vote. I was reading some of these, you know, anti-MPP arguments, and I thought, wait a second. We've elected presidents with less than 50% of the vote, and I thought, what about Ross Perot?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. I kind of gave it away. I was going to have you guess which election that was. But and that was 1992. Clinton, Bush, Ross Perot. And Clinton got 43, he was elected president with 43% of the vote. And Bush got a little over 37%, and Ross Perot got almost 19% of the popular vote. And so we have elected presidents with less than 50% of the vote. Another argument against this is that there's potential for regionalism. Candidates will focus on densely populated urban areas because that's where the votes are. If it's a direct national popular vote, and less populous areas will be ignored, but well, one target already ignored anyway. This is the biggest question. Is it constitutional? You can pass anything you want, and then it's gonna be challenged in the courts. And so if they ever get to 270, they're not gonna get to 270 for the upcoming election. But maybe in future years, they will reach the 270. And as soon as that 270 is reached, it's in force. It's enacted. And it will be immediately challenged in the courts. And here are the arguments for why it's constitutional. Some say, well, the Electoral College is not really required because nowhere in the Constitution do you find the term Electoral College. It's not there. And the Constitution does refer to electors, and we know that from what happened in the 2020 election, but it doesn't refer to the Electoral College. The Constitution does state that each state shall appoint in such a manner as a legislature thereof may direct a number of electors equal to the whole number of senators and representatives to which the state may be entitled in Congress. So the Constitution gives the states the power to select the electors. And state legislatures decide how to apportion their state's electoral votes. And it's a power that recently in 2020, the Supreme Court not only upheld, but it was a unanimous decision. And I'm just going to read you this. There is no constitutional provision or federal law that requires electors to vote according to the results of the popular vote in their states. Some states, however, pass laws that say if you are an elector to the Electoral College, you must vote, because you're selected by your party, you must vote for your party's candidate. Sometimes parties make these rules, sometimes the state has it as an actual law. California has it as a law. That if you're an elector from the Democratic Party or from the Republican Party, you must cast your vote in the Electoral College for the candidate from your party. Some states, it's silent. So there's something called a faithless elector. Have you heard that? Yeah. Yes. That's where a person is an elector, they go to vote in the Electoral College, they're supposed to vote for their party's candidate, and they say, nope, don't want to do it. I like the other party's candidates better. I like an independent candidate. I'm not voting the way I'm supposed to vote. And this is what the Supreme Court decision was about in 2020. There's an elector in the state of Washington who did not vote according to what the party said required the way he should vote. And this went to the Supreme Court, and the Supreme Court upheld the state of Washington in that electors in the state of Washington have to vote the way the party dictates. And another argument for why it's constitutional is that the national popular vote is a state-by-state decision that does not require a constitutional amendment. These are state legislatures deciding to pass the national popular vote interstate compact. The no arguments. It could happen, it's invoked, we're doing the national popular vote initiative or interstate compact, and against the Congress, we all saw this played out, and the House would not accept the slate of electors that doesn't reflect the popular vote in the state. They could say, sorry, this does not work. You needed to vote for whoever won the popular vote in your state. and we're not going to certify your state's electoral college votes. And after the debacle of 2020, we now have the Electoral Count Reform Act, and it allows a majority of both chambers to reject the state electors. Prior to this Electoral Count Reform Act, it only took a handful, I think it was one or two in each chamber, to say we're not going to certify a state's electoral college vote. Now it takes a majority. I think the second bullet point is the strongest argument against the National Popular Vote Compact. It's a violation of the Constitution's Compact Clause, and the Constitution's Compact Clause states that no state shall, without the consent of Congress, enter into any agreement or compact with another state, period. So I think it's going to be challenged on possibly those grounds also constitutionally, because it's even in the title, it's a National Popular Vote Interstate Compact. It's like, why did you say compact? You should have picked a different word. So I think constitutionally, that is going to be a major obstacle. And on a real practical issue, can you imagine being, you're in a Democratic swing state? Would a Democratic swing state certify a Republican presidential candidate as winner of their state's electoral college votes if their state voted for the Democratic candidate? So you're a Democratic governor of California. The Democratic candidate wins the popular vote in your state, and under this compact, all the electoral college votes from your state is going to the Republican candidate. Your political career is over with. Yeah.
We saw
So-
that face, but when people realize what it actually meant, the general consensus of the world is not a good thing.
So that's where we're at. That's it. Yeah. If you have questions, and it doesn't have to be just about this, if you want to ask anything about the upcoming election and what's going on, yeah.
Yeah, I was wondering if anybody ran this, idea against past elections and what the result would be if they used that method.
That's a good question. The candidate who would win the popular vote would always win.
So, you just look at the popular vote all the way back, that would be the one.
Yeah, so we've had 5 elections in our history where the candidate who won the popular vote lost the presidency.
Yeah.
And so those
Right.
would not have happened, yeah.
Okay.
Yes.
I would think your polling of 67% want to do away with the electoral college. I don't know if they understand this as the proposed substitute.
Right, I think when they asked those polling questions, they weren't, no one knows about this really in the general population. You're a very special group because you follow politics, and many of you, your hands went up when you said you had heard about this. But when they ask that question, it's just generally, would you like to see presidential candidates elected by the popular vote or the electoral college? But so in theory, so I think you're absolutely correct. In theory, people want to get rid of the electoral college, but I'm not sure they want this.
What they want is the state.
Yeah, there are other questions.
Want it to be changed.
Okay, we need to call.
Oh, sorry. Yeah,
You said that there's been, what, 70 attempts to get rid of the election?
700.
700. When was the last time?
I don't know.
It
I don't
sounds
know.
like the statistics of this other lady sounds like the country would be ready to actually do it.
So I think there is as we're seeing in recent political history, there is a big gap between what the people want and what the elected officials are willing to do. And it has to, don't forget, it's not, getting rid of the electoral college, I wish it was put up to a popular vote. But it won't be. It has to happen in the state legislature. And it has to happen in Congress. And Congress, you know, there's kind of, the gap is really interesting on a lot of issues between what the public wants and how Congress is behaving.
Yeah.
Oh, yes.
So you said with the compact, we made one of the constitution, but it did say without the consent of Congress. Would we just need Congress to agree with the compact and then it would be okay?
So it would have to be, let's say the Supreme Court. It would have to go to the Supreme Court. That's where we go. The United States is law.
I think really, the argument against it. I would think, you know, you say politicians' desire and the public's desire are two different things. And you raise the point of governors having their career torpedoed if they go the exact opposite way of their state. So how really practically will it pass? I just don't see it going nationwide.
Well, it's gotten pretty far.
We only need 70 more votes.
Yeah, there'll be 70 more votes, and there, it was never up for public, it's all the state legislatures, and the governors have not vetoed it, so it passed.